probably need this.
What'd you do to it?
By the way, I cannot hear the piano over your singing. Is this as loud as the piano can go?
This is as loud as it gets.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then I guess I could also be quieter?
No, we don't want that.
Yeah, let's have a midlife crisis. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, have a midlife crisis. Let's have a midlife crisis. Let's have a midlife. Let's have a midlife. Let's have a midlife crisis. We're getting old. We're growing mold. We're doing what we're told. We're this old and we can have our own decisions. We are living life without precision. We're getting old. We're getting old. We're always doing what we're told. We're getting old. We're getting old. Always doing what we're told. I go down to the church today. I want to hear what the preacher had to say. He said, come on over here, little people. Don't you have a midlife crisis in my steeple? We're getting old. We're getting old. We're getting old. My, we're getting old. 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 What, man? That's a good start.
Yeah, I'm feeling the spirit.
I like how we have a new theme song every week. I love that.
Yet I still rhyme old with mold.
With mold and cold.
And cold. Well, I didn't do cold, but I did mold again.
For our 48th birthday, we're going to get a thesaurus.
We're getting beyond the years of our effective use.
Our half-life has gone down a hill.
Our cells are no longer regenerating at the rate necessary to sustain life.
Woo, we're getting... Man, I'm so excited to hang out. We didn't talk about this last week, but didn't? You know what recently came out? Did we talk about the fact that the Arizona Coyotes are up and moving out?
Oh, I saw I had one TikTok video pop up and it was a guy holding a sign we'll miss you, but I thought they were just not going to be at that arena anymore in Glendale. Are they?
No, they're going to Salt Lake City.
Oh my gosh, they're totally changing religions. Yeah. They're like, we want a hockey player to have a few more wives.
Yeah, we got you. Listen, listen. He's hockey's good and all, but what about second heaven?
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's interesting. So, do they think that Salt Lake? I didn't know that Salt Lake would have a better hockey market than Arizona.
It makes 100% sense to me.
Okay, because
if you've ever, I've talked to this before. Salt Lake City has a wonderful live events market. Okay. So it's one of the few places left in America where if you're going to go do something like they have small theaters for plays, stand-up comedy, improv comedy is huge out there.
Yeah.
That's why I keep on saying you should go check out Salt Lake, go see what it's like up there. Because I think you would crush it.
I've been there a lot.
Yeah. So
not a ton, but a handful of times.
Yeah, but they when they have something there, they are the best fans of whatever it is. When you drive around, it is Utah Jazz City.
Yeah.
None of them listen to jazz, obviously.
Of course not. No, let's see. I was up there a couple years ago. I went to Wise Guys and I saw Tony Hinchcliffe was headlining there.
Okay.
I actually got booked to headline. It was like this kind of indie produced show. That was actually really fun. I had a good time there. I've been to Comedy Sports in Provo.
Okay, yeah.
I walked by the Dry Bar.
In Provo, yeah.
Yeah, but as you know, I have not been let in.
You're not invited in.
I'm not invited in just yet.
It's weird because you can technically still go to the temple, right?
What do you mean?
The temple's across the street. The Mormon temple.
Well, I can go to the outside of it. Yes.
Oh, but not in the inside.
No,
I wasn't. I don't think I was, because I tried to go in. I didn't try to go in, but I think I was allowed to go. There's a series of gates,
wow.
And I could only go through the first series of gates, but there's like 5 series of gates.
Yeah. So any Mormon temple, to actually go inside, it is reserved for only card-carrying members, and
Correct.
not only card-carrying members, but card-carrying members who are in good standards.
Correct.
And have answered.
You have to have a letter from your bishop,
Gotta
right?
have a letter from the bishop and the stake president, and you have to do an interview, and you gotta pay a lot of money, and that sort of thing.
Okay.
It's not a ton of money. It's 10% of your income, so it's a sliding scale.
It's 10% of your for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
Okay.
But then they'll have like a visitor center, and that's any schlub can go to the visitor center.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
so
I couldn't even go inside a Mormon temple.
Yeah, now, because we talked about this. My wife and I were there for Easter weekend. We did a show at Utah State University up in Logan, Utah.
Oh, cool.
Gorgeous country, unbelievable.
Yeah,
love those people. Pickleville tour. They hired me a couple years ago to do some stuff. Got to see them. Amazing. And I don't know if Logan, Utah, Bear Lake. It's so pretty. But it's Easter weekend, so we were thinking, we're like, well, should we just go to, just whatever churches around here or whatever? And then we found out, I don't think we get an invite to, not just temples, but we couldn't even, like, we're trying to hint, hey, we don't have anywhere to go for Easter Sunday or whatever. And then nobody would even invite us to regular
Mormon church,
whatever.
Which is interesting because every LDS church has a sign on it that says "Visitors Welcome."
Oh, okay.
So you could have just walked into any Mormon church building.
I want to be invited in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about.
Well, who are you with, and who are you trying to hint this to?
I am a vampire. That's the one thing about me. I'm not allowed to enter a building without being invited in first.
Oh, gotcha.
I won't say who we were with, because that's calling people out, because they're wonderful people.
But they were Mormons?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so you were with Mormons, and you were kind of like, man, would sure like to know where to go to, and the Mormons didn't pick up on that?
No. But
that's not typical. I want you to know that, at least with my experience with Mormons, that your experience with those Mormons is not typical.
Okay,
because most Mormons are thrilled beyond comprehension if anybody actually, and we're trained to sniff out missionary opportunities like a bloodhound, just like, well, somebody wants to go to church. Oh, we have a church. So they were probably fake Mormons and running a sex trafficking ring.
That makes way more sense. Yeah. Well, but then you would think that they would still want to invite
Tim
me
Ballard.
in. They'd be like, "Hey, Josh, do we got an opportunity for you?
We got a deal."
And then all of a sudden, I'm in Albania.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Have you ever been to a Mormon church?
I have not, and I'm not. I would go.
Any given Sunday, you can hop in there, and then.
Yeah, but I want to know somebody there.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have an insight anymore.
Because I used to. Well, now it's slowed down a little bit with some of the stuff I've been doing, right? With my travel schedule. I used to be on the road a lot, like all the time, and so. I have this. I will just go to whatever church. I'll be like, that sounds like a weird church. Let's go. Let's find out. So I've been to cowboy churches. I've been to Pentecostals. I've been to boring white people churches. I've been to ones where
that would be Mormons, by the way.
Yeah. But I've been
Mormon church would fall into the boring white person church category.
But I've been to more boring, where is boring white people church, but also no instruments are allowed in the church.
None at all. So Mormons, you will have an organ,
or a piano,
and a piano, nothing else.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That's normal boring white people. That's
it'll
fine.
sound. Let me see if. Can I do?
Oh yeah, we got it.
Brothers and sisters,
gather round us, be known to thou.
Holy, holy, holy.
Please come inside. Don't be a vampire. 'Cause when it comes to other churches, thou has no choice. My people. White people.
Thank you and welcome to Boring White People Church.
Yes.
We will now have a sermon on the joy and exuberant life that we feel when we follow the Lord by Pastor Mick Sleepyhead.
Hey guys, I'm Pastor Mick Sleepyhead. Everybody, go ahead and turn to your piece of bread that I wrote the sermon on today. And
Excuse me, Pastor
yes.
Mick Sleepyhead.
Yes.
I didn't realize your sermon was written on the bread and I ate it. I thought it was the sacramental bread.
It's both fiscal responsibility and stuff.
I feel like I have taken your words and now they are a part of me.
And that's Jesus. Oh, guys, it's that's about 5 minutes. That means it's end of church. See you guys next Sunday.
I'm sorry, did you say something, Pastor?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. We're running over. We're at 6 minutes for the total time of church today.
I would just like to thank you for your excellent sermon. I feel the Spirit has invigorated my soul, and that I now feel like I have the energy to face the world
Thank you.
and all the trials and tribulations that befall a true believing person.
Thank you, my brethren. May Cracker Barrel be with you. And Cracker Barrel be with you. And Cracker Barrel be with you.
Hey, Josh,
Yes.
we're out of the bit now, but
out of the bit.
I'm having a hard time knowing how to get the energy back to a normal
Because
level.
now we've gone into NPR voice.
Yeah. I feel like we need to just very
Like
slowly
just
and gradually.
This is turning into a murder podcast. Paul didn't know it, but he was being watched. Who was it? Was it the next door neighbor, Monica?
It's probably just in my imagination. I'll just keep walking.
Uh-oh, just now. There's a knock at the door. Come in! Oh no, Paul didn't know. It was a vampire.
Oh. Hi, sir. Are you new in town?
Hello there, it's me, Elder Vampire. Have you heard the word of the holy sacramental toast of the bread of the sermon of 7 seas?
Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that, but I make it a point to welcome all religious visitors into my house. Although I'm a little suspicious that your last name is Vampire. You don't look like somebody who would suck my blood. Come on in, Vampire, Elder.
And scene. Thank you.
I think we're almost back.
Now we're almost back to normal. There we go.
What just happened?
What? I don't know what happened, but
When you have a midlife crisis, you break
Yeah.
out into random improvisational bits, and that's what we want to do with our lives.
that's I have here's actually a real question for
Real
you.
question.
So you just brought this up. How has improv affected your normal life? Like, when not on stage, not doing things. How do you use the skills or stupidity that you've learned to bring enjoyment to yourself or others in a normal everyday life?
It affects my everyday life because it is almost impossible for me not to always be in a bit
Yeah.
with anybody, including strangers.
Who don't know that they're in a bit.
Don't know that they're in a bit.
Yeah.
And the principle of yes and, I will go with just about anything.
Yeah.
Even if it's atrocious.
Which is weird. Which is how you actually confessed to a murder.
Right.
It was.
Right.
And then the cops were like, yes, and?
Yeah, and, it was totally, I don't know what I'm doing with these bloody hands. The glove didn't fit. God rest his soul, OJ. You want to hear the best OJ joke I heard over the weekend? And I cannot remember the comic's name to give her credit. She was at JP's Comedy Club. She's a lawyer.
A lawyer, you say?
A lawyer. And her OJ joke was, so OJ died today, and I heard they cremated him, so now the glove will finally fit.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty. I thought
That's pretty good. I saw Brad Williams made the joke at the beginning of the day, and he said, O.J. Simpson can now rest at peace knowing that his wife's killer is dead.
That's good.
And then everyone picked it up, and then they didn't give him credit for it.
Of course.
But here's something. This is something I do specifically, and it's either improv or comedy or it's mental illness, and I don't know which one. When I go grocery shopping, when I'm getting the things that are good for me, I talk like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, look at that. It's some broccoli, dear.
That's what I do.
Got to have some broccoli, dear.
Come on, dearie. Just get some broccoli.
Yes.
And then that's how I convince myself to get those things. Yeah, it's good. It's a good source of vitamin K, honey.
Oh, we all want the vitamin K, dearie. So what voice do you do when you're getting the ice cream and the chocolate bars?
Ralphie May. I play. Get my belly.
Who was the other heavyset fellow who would do the buffet joke?
Oh,
you'll be here for an hour.
John Panette. God rest his soul. See, these are the guys that make me go, okay, I need to lose the weight.
Yeah.
Because Ralphie May was 43, something like that, when he passed away. John Panette was 50. John Panette lost a lot of weight before he passed away, but he
got another 7 years.
I know that's essentially it.
And how old are you?
41, almost 42. I'll be 42 in a couple.
So we need to kick this into high gear.
I know.
Why don't we turn this podcast also into Josh's weight loss accountability podcast?
No, that's what I need. I need a reason. You can't just be like, oh, it's going to get you healthy. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. I need like a purpose. Like last year,
how about seeing your kids and wife grow old?
No.
No, like a good reason.
I need a good reason for it. No. Stupid. It's stupid. So last year I worked out a lot building up to the football movie, because I was like, oh, this is a thing. So that's, again, like I have to have a purpose. There has to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for me to like reach for. Like there has to be a goal, because it's never worked for me when they're like, you just got to get better. Yeah, that doesn't work.
No, making changes is really, really hard. This is what I've learned. Not being who I am, even if who I am has elements that are not in my own best future self-interest.
Yeah.
It's like near impossible. I like how Jordan Peterson, his whole thing was like, there's me now. There's me in the past, and there's me in the future. And the goal is every day to make decisions that are in the best interest of all three.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You could also go with the David Goggins. You know who David Goggins is?
Oh, yeah. That guy's a nut bar, though.
Yeah. But
so then I just ran 4,000 miles, and I had my bone was cracking out of my ankle, and I was pissing myself, and my intestines had started to work their way through my stomach lining, but I was just like, I can still go harder. So then I ran another 8,000 miles. I had an eyeball hanging out of my socket, and my right arm was 2,000 miles behind, but I got to the finish line.
Yeah, that's
David Goggins.
That's David Goggins in a nutshell.
Yeah,
it's weird that he's in a nutshell.
Ned, here's David Goggins in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a giant nutshell. How did I get in this nutshell? What nut has a need of a shell this big? It's one of my favorite Austin Power bits.
So good. That's the whole. It's almost. I don't know. So my wife and I, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Because we talk about there's this, a lot of people will say God never gives you more than you can handle, which is baloney. That is absolute baloney. Even biblically, that is an incorrect statement.
Well, because that's also assuming that God is giving us everything or not.
Well, okay, so imagine this. So my wife, she kind of put it out there that if God is like, sometimes God piles things on to you for a reason, right? And we came up with the saying. This is the saying that we came up with was, if you gotta eat a turd, you might as well have seconds. So like instead of pile everything on right now. That way it can all suck.
I don't like anything about that analogy.
No, it's a good.
First of all, as a comic, I abhor bathroom humor at all costs. So can we have the exact same analogy, but without a bathroom humor analogy?
Sure. Listen, if you gotta eat your broccoli, you might as well have seconds.
See, but broccoli is good for you. Turd is actually really bad for you. If you had one turd, you would die. Two, you would die twice.
No, not necessarily. I mean, you might
survive.
You could totally get. Oh, yeah, people get.
Okay, but broccoli is what we actually want, and I actually like that analogy better because maybe what it is we have to do the things that don't taste good but are actually in our own best interest.
Yeah.
I don't think turd is in our own best interest.
Yeah, but when we were talking about like when things that are not in, like, let's your dog dies, your grandma passes away, all these things that happen.
Maybe your grandma dying is in your own best interest because then you get an inheritance and then you can afford.
I do not come from money. You have
That's
seen.
True. I've had all four of my grandparents have died. I didn't see a penny of that money.
Yeah. I have no grandparents left. I barely knew them anyways.
Oh, really?
But yeah, there's no money. There's no inheritance. That's one of the things I want to change in my life is I would like my children and my wife to have an inheritance because otherwise they're screwed.
Do you have a life insurance policy?
No, I'm too fat to get one.
They won't give you a life insurance policy?
No, I'm too fat. You don't know that?
That's really a thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you didn't know that if you're too fat, you can't get a life insurance. Well, I mean, it could, but it's like, it ends up being like...
It's like an exorbitant amount of money.
A stupid amount
for
of money.
$10,000 a month, we'll give you $100,000. And it's like, you think I'm going to die in a year.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it is. So, that's how it all works. Because they're... Insurance companies, they hedge their bets. They know ahead of time. They're like, okay, listen, if we can, like if you got life insurance right now, you probably have a good 40 something 50 years, right left on it. If I get an insurance like right now, we got 2.
I don't want you to die in 2 years because I want to do more podcast episodes.
Well,
Can that be enough motivation?
I mean, maybe. Are you worth it? I don't know. Let's
Josh,
find out.
What if I make this face?
Well, how about this? If this podcast gets to a certain like what
the number of views?
Number of views or listens
or subs,
then we'll start talking again.
Okay. All right, audience. You need to subscribe to save Josh's life. And if you don't, you're selfish pricks, okay?
I've never held people
and
hostage.
I will condemn
like
you
that.
at his funeral.
Yeah.
It was the internet! Damn you, internet!
And then all of a sudden you hear a knock on your door.
Hello.
Hello. It's the vampire. Josh, no.
You're alive, kind of.
But yeah, you always been. Yeah, I mean, I used to be healthy. Obviously. Well,
Yeah. So tell me about your whole weight journey, because it may seem like Josh and I know each other extremely well. We actually don't.
We don't. That's one of the reasons.
We kind of met within probably the last year.
Yeah. And then we're like, oh, we have a lot in common.
Yeah, and then we've hung out a few times, but we haven't had like a let's sit down.
Let's talk about
tell each other our whole life story. Plus, men don't really do that.
So here's my weight journey. I was in the Army. I was fat for the Army. Right. So imagine. So like,
are you comfortable dropping numbers?
No, I mean, I was probably 215.
Okay, 215.
Right.
And how tall are you?
5'11".
Okay. So 215, you'd have to be like mad muscular for that to be.
I was very muscular. Okay. I had a 6-pack.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
So there's pictures somewhere.
By the way, I've never had a 6-pack in my entire life.
Yeah.
The best I ever had was a 1 liter.
Yeah. Hey, it's Fago too. It's not even the good stuff. Yeah. So I was even for the. I mean, I was heavy. I've always been big boned, whatever.
Sure.
I've always been heavy, even no matter like the least I've ever weighed was 185, and I was like skin and bones.
When was that?
It was also in the Army, but
in the Army.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about probably 185 right about now.
Okay, so
for context.
So I was like skin like nothing. And then I was overseas and I got injured, but I didn't. I talked about this before. Have I talked about on the podcast? How I broke my back in the Army.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So I was overseas and I was doing a thing. That sounds like I'm lying. Whenever someone's like, I was doing a thing. No. I was a combat medic and we had a patient who was probably bigger than I am now. Like we think he's probably 500 or 600 pounds, right? Biggest person I'd ever seen in the Middle East by far. And something happened to him, and I went to go pick him up, and I felt a crack in my back, right? And I was like, "This is not good." Because when you're over there, so I was a medic, so I had so we call it full battle rattle. So you have a helmet, your IBA with all the stuff, plus your weapon. I had a M16. I wasn't cool. I didn't get the M4s like the cool people, no, whatever. So I had M16 up here, and then I had a medic bag that weighed like another 40 pounds. So I probably had an extra 100 pounds maybe on top that I was wearing, that I was carrying around with me. And then I tried to pick this guy up to take him to safety. I felt that crack, and then I was like, I couldn't move him, and then ended up taking, not an exaggeration, it took 8 of us to move this guy to get him, and then we get him. I'll tell the story off the podcast. It's a great story that people are horrified of.
Gotcha.
The war stories, anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm having issues. I'm kind of having issues with my leg, and I was like, oh, whatever. And I knew it. So I go and I get checked out, and I said, listen, guys, my back is killing me. My leg's not really kind of working right. And they're like, let's do some X-rays, let's do all the stuff. So they do the X-rays, and they go, listen, you just tweak your back. You take some ibuprofen, get on with your day. That's because that's the Army. That's what they do. That's what they do. And I go, that's fine. And then so since that moment, it's my left leg has never quite worked right. Any cast will be walking and my leg will just stop. It'll just stop mid motion, doing whatever it wants to do.
Do you fall a lot because of that?
I fell in a few times. I fell once here. I busted my face up. I fell in the shower a couple times. Anyways, it's fun.
Jeez. So it sounds like a nerve damage thing. Maybe
it's pretty much nervous. So and then like if you I can't feel my leg. My entire leg. You could stab me. You could do whatever I can. I know that I'm hitting it, but right. I don't. Wow. And then and so the same I feel it'll cramp up in the middle of the night, but they say that's because because of nerve damage. They say that my muscles go they go nerves, and then they go like that, and then so anyways. Long story short, last year I went in. I finally convinced the VA to give me shots on my back. I've been going after this for 14 something years now. That I've been trying to get help with my back from the VA. I go in to get. They finally approved me for cortisone shots. So I was like, listen, just give me something so that I can start to work out and get better and do things. And they go, fine, cool. So they get me. I go to a new doctor that they sent me to, who ends up being the best guy I've ever been. And then, of course, he immediately quits the VA right afterwards because that's how that works. But he sits me down. He goes, listen, I was going to give you your shots today. I'm not going to because it's not going to do anything. It wouldn't do anything anyway. So we're not going to do it. And he goes, I looked at all your records, all your MRIs, your CAT scans, your x-rays going back to that incident. And he said, I looked at the x-ray of that incident, and in that x-ray, it is annotated that you broke your back. But then they did not annotate that on your medical records. So it was. So they saw. So on my L5, if you know how vertebrae works, you have like there's kind of like this and a kind of a hole like the fossa. So on my L5, I broke both things. I cracked them, and now I have 2 bone spurs that are sticking into my spine on both sides. Right. Yeah. So he goes. This ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
He said, homie. He didn't say homie. He was actually really like one of the best doctors I ever met. He's like, there's nothing. So he said, we can you need surgery, but you need to lose the weight in order to get the surgery. And I go, how am I supposed to lose the weight if I can't move? And he goes, I don't know. And then so now we're on like a whole weight loss journey with the medicines and the surgeries and it's a whole thing. But anyways, I say that to say that the VA is a terrible, terrible place. Mm-hmm. And that's the story of that's my weight gain journey since that moment. And I was never able to really run properly, and then I started gaining weight, and then we had issues with thyroids, and it's like so it's like it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then by the time you get to this place where it's not manageable anymore, like you can have Taco Bell and you go, oh well, I'm just gonna go run an extra half a mile or whatever to do Taco Bell. If I eat Taco Bell, it's just there.
Right.
It's
forever.
This is Taco Bell. This is Taco Bell. That's Taco Bell. That's Taco.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's where I'm at right now, is trying to figure out what I can do to move. To just do anything. Pools are a lot easier for me, but having access to a pool is a lot harder than you think when you don't own a pool. You can't just
LA Fitness.
Yeah, but then you have to go find an LA Fitness.
There's one a mile away.
No, it's not. No, the Vasa has a pool.
What's Vasa?
The Vasa Fitness.
Oh, Vasa?
Yeah, Vasa. I don't know. Anyways.
I used to go, so LA Fitness is my jam. There's one on Dobson and Warner.
Oh, okay.
Which, by the way, I just communicated the internet.
Yeah,
which you live within a mile of.
I live.
He lives within a mile, maybe 2 miles of Dobson and the Warner LA Fitness. If it makes you
feel better, though, guys, if you want to break in here, bring it on. We are armed. I just told
Army vet right there.
Combat veteran has guns.
Has guns and knows how to use them, and I know how to yes and situations. Give us all your money. It sounds like you want all my money. And
my watch. Sure. And my... keep on giving them thing. And they're like, Paul, we don't want anything else. You're like, and take it off your shirt. and we just did. I feel like I'm took over the conversation. This is a new bit I'm working on.
But it's life. That's real life.
It's real life, though.
And that's what this is about. We're having a midlife crisis,
really
and we want to find out what's really going on.
Yeah.
Surrounded by jokes and frivolity.
That's what we do.
And ridiculousnly.
Yeah. This is a new bit I'm trying to work on. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. I was doing, have you ever done the apocalypse vault list, right? You're like, listen, if there's apocalypse, who's in my bunker? You ever do that?
No, never done that. Never done that.
I was doing that a couple of days ago, and I was just thinking, because I was watching Fallout, which is so good.
I just watched Civil War last night, which is like an apocalypse, the America's
I heard
Civil
about that.
War.
Yeah.
Offerman is the president or whatever.
Love it. Have you
Nick Offerman?
Did you? I'm not a big video game person, but they had this video games called Fallout, and
I remember the video games. I never played them.
Anyways, there's a new Amazon Prime series based off of that.
Oh.
Unbelievable. When I say it's one of the best shows based off of anything I've ever seen. It's so good. It was so well done. Gory, funny, horrifying, all at the same time. What's this? Oh, so that's what made me think. Who's in my vault? Who's in my bunker? And I was thinking, okay, so we got Mike across the street. He's really good with cars. He can fix things. My son Patrick, he's strong. He's really good mechanical things. Okay, my father-in-law Robert, he's like a really good hunter. And I'm like naming off all these things, and I get to me, and I was like, I don't think I have a place in my bunker. I was like, I was like, what can Josh do? Josh can make jokes and wheeze. Like, what do you?
Be like, oh, sorry. Yeah. We're full now.
But guys, this is my bunker. It's This is my bunk. But guys, my bunker.
Yeah. It reminds me of this Simpsons episode where they think this meteor is going to crash into Springfield and destroy the whole city. And so they're all down in this bunker, and for some reason it's too full, and somebody has to leave, and everybody's kind of doing the fake like I'll go, and then Ned Flanders goes, well, I'll go, and they're like, okay, they like immediately whatever. And then so then Ned has to leave the bunker, and he's just sitting there, as the meteor, he can see the meteor coming close, and then back in the bunker, Homer's like, you guys are despicable, you should be ashamed, especially the children. When it was actually Homer's idea.
Yeah. I love it. I love The Simpsons. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I wish you luck in that. I'm here to support and help however I can, which I know that is hard because the last thing you want is people telling you what to do. And
it's not that. It's more okay. So like it's finding opportunities to go and be active. Yeah. Because for me, I go to the gym and I can do some stuff. I can't do all the stuff, but I can do some stuff, and I do pretty regular. By the way, I work out. I use Planet Fitness. And I'm pretty.
Do they have a pool?
They don't have a pool, and I'm pretty regular at Planet Fitness.
LA Fitness has a pool.
I know. So Vasa Fitness is right here, and they also have a pool, and they also have all the classes. And
I'll tell you what. If you get an LA Fitness membership, I will be an accountability buddy, and we can work out, and I'll be that.
Ooh,
I will be that.
All right.
I will be that ass kicking.
LA Fitness. If LA Fitness is willing to sponsor,
hey LA Fitness, do you want to sponsor Josh Novies, a military veteran? Successful stand-up comedian with a huge social media following. Do you want to support his weight loss journey?
Yeah, come on.
Dude, we should really do that. We should actually.
We should actually. We'll send this off to people before. Yeah. Anyways, so I actually have this idea, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Fat guy basketball, right?
Yeah.
Half court, no press. If you're good, you're off the team.
I guess I'm off the team.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But I was saying, like, what about? I was like, just get like 5 or 6 or 10 because substitutions.
Right.
Bunch of fat guys together. Mm-hmm. We're playing basketball, half court. If you're sitting there running around everyone, you're doing alley. No.
Maximum speed is a waddle.
That sounds like waddle at the speed of life.
All right, so you comfortable dropping numbers, like where you're at and where you need to get?
I won't say the numbers.
Okay, can we say where you need to get?
If I can get back to, that's the end goal, is like back to that 215.
About 215, and then you would be eligible for the surgery?
Yeah, way before then I'd be eligible for the surgery.
So what would you need to be at to be eligible for the surgery?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Less. We just stopped. The thing is, once you get to the certain point with the VA, you just stop. Because I am eligible for the weight loss surgery, but it's a 3-year process as opposed to a month process with everything else.
Wait, I didn't track that. What do you mean?
Yeah. So it's like let's say you want to go get weight loss surgery, right? You find
is that the balloon thing on the stomach?
They cut your thing. It's called gastric sleeve. They cut your stomach in half. It's about the size of a banana, right? Then there's also other ones where they do like it's called a Roux-en-Y, where they take your intestines and they cut off like 6 feet of it, and there's different ones, right? There's also the medications. That's a whole nother story. So I am approved for the VA weight loss surgeries. However, like I said, let's say you want a surgery. You go, I want the surgery. I want to go to the doctor. And the doctor goes, yeah, you can get the surgery. Hey, go talk to this doctor. And then you go talk to the doctor. And about a month later, you go and you get the surgery. That's about how long it takes. With the VA, it takes about 3 years, and that includes them sending you out of state. So they go, after 3 years, after the time that you have to pass all these classes, do all these things, jump through all these hoops, metaphorically. So, no physical ones, and then they go, after that, then about the 3-year mark, they go, okay, now we'll send you to California, which you have to pay for, and go out there and do all this. Yeah. So the other option is I go to Mexico, get the surgery down there.
For $5,000.
Yeah, less than that. I found one for $3,100.
$3,100. I'll do it for $31.
Yeah, but dollars was spelled wrong.
Well, come here for. I don't think we should. I don't think we should go to that.
No. How about if the doctor is in Mexico, however, he's like Italian? what's an appropriate Irish?
Heidi, 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 Heidi.
I work all day, I take the stomach out of the fat people. Then I take their stomachs and I put it back into the pot. And I take the other thing, I put it around the intestines. That's how we make the fat people not so fat.
Midlife Crisis podcast. This close to getting canceled on any given episode. We're going to get Shane Gillis. I just know it. One of us is going to get a big opportunity, and then they're going to pull up that 1-2 second sound bit of me doing an impersonation of a Mexican surgeon, and it'll be over for me.
It's over. It's done.
It'll be over. It'll be done.
Is that you're out of here? You're out of here. I met a retired Major League Baseball umpire the other day.
Oh, really?
Really, it was Johnny's show, and he was so nice, and so we were talking, and I asked him questions. And do you know any Major League umpire names?
Zero.
Okay, there's two that kind of. Joe West was kind of like the big shot, right? It's like that's just Joe. Everybody knows Joe West, but now everybody knows Angel Hernandez because he's a terrible umpire.
Okay,
and he has been, but because he's just anyway. So I was asking him. I wasn't being mean about it, but I was like, do you ever get tired of talking about Angel Hernandez? And he's like, all the friggin' time. That's it. That's my whole. That was the whole story. Okay. Sorry and sorry.
Were you just trying to get as far away from the Mexican surgeon as fast as possible by doing a non sequitur that didn't tie in at all?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, and by the other way, my Toyota Camry went to the shop.
You know who's great for America? Immigrants.
How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman drop in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by providence and impoverished and squalor grow up to be a hero and a scholar? The $10 founding fathers without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter. By 14, they placed them in charge of a trading charter. All right, I think
that's so weird. My wife says that this is a curse that I just remember the lyrics.
Oh, really?
Because we'll be driving down the road and a song will come on I haven't heard since I was 8, and I will know all of the lyrics to them.
Oh wow! By the way, I missed that riff, and how's it go? That's it.
Yeah, we were judging you. Everybody judge Paul with me.
That I couldn't remember the opening riff. See, I'm not actually really good at that. Actually being able to hear songs and pick them up. I can do it, but I'm not great at it. I have to hear it and then I can figure it out after some noodling.
So that's a whole different that chord progressions and figuring out things. That's so I can play I'm pretty good guitar. I'm not great.
You never play guitar on the podcast.
I don't.
It's just all me on the keys.
It's for a reason because you're so good and then you just start going off on tangents that I can't keep up with.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry about that. That was rude. Have mercy.
How does a bastard orphan? Immigrants, we get the job done.
Yeah, immigrants. Anyways, I'm a pretty good guitar player, but I'm not good enough because you just start going off on. Start doing you're doing E minor chord progressions, and you're doing jazzy thing. I can't keep up with that without knowing what you're doing first.
So it'd have to be E minor, F sharp minor 7,
yes,
G7,
watch,
B7 with a flat 9.
So you're doing E minor, F minor 7th, right?
G7.
So right there.
Then to F sharp minor 7.
Yeah, see.
To G. Back to E minor 7. To A7. To D.
Almost out of tune.
Ah, guitar's out of tune.
That's another thing is and I know because you play piano, guitars and pianos are not tuned to the same exact.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other
thing. All right. Well, why don't you jam on something?
We can do this next part's called Old Man Jamming. Let's do like how about maybe like an E to an A minor, back to an E minor, and then maybe like a B. Is it B7?
Usually, if you're starting with a minor tonality, you can go to the.
See, that's why it's so much easier. That's why it's easier for guitar for pianos to do it, because you can just sort of play. And guitars, you gotta unless you gotta know what's happening. Unless if you're doing major chords, so much easier. Be like, hey, we're gonna do like a. Yeah, see? It's just so much easier. That's yeah. That's why whenever you're doing like improvised musical things, not a whole lot of guitars are in there because it's just so much easier for pianos to do all the stuff, and with the guitars on you have to have a repertoire with
a repertory
of things.
It's a repertory. There's the Italian. There's the Italian surgeon.
That sounds like an old Broadway musical. Repertory.
Repertory.
That sounds like. Hey you, here's my story. I got another repertory. Come on over, show me some class, or else I'm gonna kick you in the newspaper. Hey, ever come on over? Let me show you what you're missing. And now go out to the Badlands of South Dakota.
Welcome here to our town. We're gonna hear some beautiful sounds. Everybody here has a story with our repertory. Our town was founded a long time ago. After the war, we won a victory with glory.
And now everyone in the town, they wait to hear those great old sounds. They wait for people to come back to hear them tell their story. It's our glory. Repertory.
Repertory. Yeah.
Repertory.
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 Repertory now.
Hey guys, welcome to Repertory South Dakota, where everybody's welcome as long as you got a spot in the bench.
Thanks. We're just traveling from out of town. We're looking for a new place to live.
Ah, well, I hope your wagon will break around these parts because you ain't leaving.
Wow, that sounds very ominous.
We came out to this town just to get some gas and leave. That's when this man came round. He said, you can never leave. Repertory, repertory. Repertory, South Dakota.
It's repertory.
Anyways,
There was a lot going on in that song. I don't think we quite knew what was happening.
We don't know, but that's okay because that's okay. Because isn't that life though? We don't really know what's happening with life. But
Sometimes life serves you a big plate of broccoli and then says, here's seconds.
You got 8 seconds. Hey,
you got 8 seconds.
You like broccoli? Hope you like seconds of broccoli.
Hey! All right. Well,
I have a good question. So, I mean, you stay pretty active, right? You play basketball-ish. Otherwise, it's not quite basketball.
I try to get 1, maybe 2 times a week, and if I'm really like going nuts, I mean, I've been on like all day or like everyday workout journeys. I was doing that about a year ago.
Sometimes I go on benders.
Yeah. About a year ago, I was trying to see if I could train myself to dunk a basketball.
I remember that.
So every day
you failed.
And I failed.
You know why you failed?
Because I quit.
No, it's because you're midlife. You're middle-aged. Middle-aged men are not supposed to dunk a basketball.
That was the whole point. I think I could have done it.
Oh, okay.
I think I could have done it if I would have stuck with it. Because after about 6 months, I was getting to the point where I could jump up and touch rim on a regular basis. As a 42-year-old white dude, I could just jump up and touch rim. Yeah. Whereas when I started, like I could barely get net. So I increased my vertical like 6 inches.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But I was working my arse off.
Yeah.
To even get to that, I was doing like 3 hours every night of like. I had to like daisy chain multiple jump routines, and I had like PDFs and like training courses and stuff like that I bought online. And these guys were like, I train Olympic athletes to jump 47 feet in the air. And so I would try to do what they're doing and box jumps and squats and plyometrics. And I was doing the knees over toes guys and split squats and
Pilates
weights and Pilates. I mean, everything. I was stretches and that, like, all of that work, and I, like, got injured, and then I would have to, like, reset, and I was, like, a month behind, and blah, 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 all to get to where I could just touch rim. But I'm going, I think if that's what I really, really wanted to do, I think I could have done it.
I think you could have, too. Yeah, and that's the problem.
But comedy got in the way.
Because the problem, Paul, is that you don't have a stick-to-itiveness like some.
Oh, that's a huge problem, one.
Yeah, it's 6 months. That's not
long enough.
That's not long enough.
No,
that's not long
for
enough.
what I was going for.
Oh no, not at all. To make the NBA at your age, it's terrible.
I trained for 6 months, coach. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not ready to go up against Devin Booker? They say that the truth hurts. And that's actually true, because that hurt a little bit. Because that's actually one of my biggest insecurities, is that I don't have a stick-to-itiveness. So about 4 months ago, because I have my own other podcast, right? I have set so many goals in my life, and I have achieved none of them. And so I was like, I need to stick to at least one thing for a year on a daily basis. And that's when I started the Paul Green Comedy Podcast. And I was like, I'm going to do this every effing day without fail. No excuses whatsoever for a year. I will release an episode of this podcast every day. And I'm pleased to announce that I am 137 days.
That's great.
Without a single miss.
I was going to say.
So I'm not even. Yeah. So what is that? About a fourth of the way? A third of the way?
Yeah. 366 this year.
Yeah. So not quite half.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a leap year.
I did it wrong. I gotta get that one. I'm gonna do 365 and then sleep in on New Year's Day. No.
Yeah. I think this might be a good place to wrap it up. But let's. What do you think? We should sing it. Let's sing us out. What are you
feeling?
I feel like we should sing about your stick to it. Let's see.
Okay, how about stick-to-itiveness? Now, you were talking about how you want to explore some genres, because I just kind of...
Yeah. How about if I go... how about country? How about stick-to-itive country? Okay. ain't don't do nothing. It don't last long. I don't do nothing. I don't even finish this song. Anyways.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't think. Yeah, that was probably enough. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to quit podcasting and comedy and music after that. I
Honestly,
think.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
That's kind of my MO. It's like I'll really do something hard for like a day, and then I'll be like, yeah, I think I'm good.
You know, the Bible. Just bring it back to the Bible. you know what they call us though, Paul, and if that's a good name.
Going to hellers?
No. They call us apostles. Apostles start things,
but don't end them.
Correct. And you hand it over.
And then they just leave.
Exactly. You start a movement and you hand it over.
Like, hey, you deal with it. So what I should have done is handed over my workout routine
to somebody else,
and then I would be able to dunk.
If I were you, I would have handed over your workout routine to a young African American kid who's about 6'5", 6'6".
You mean about the other 20 kids at my LA Fitness who can jump out of the gym who I play basketball with and are just absolutely unbelievable, phenomenal athletes? You would not believe how many people I have seen dunk at an LA Fitness just in pickup games, like on a Wednesday night. And they let me play because, you know, I know the game. I have the IQ. I can hang. I'll hit a corner three every now and again. But mostly I just know how to pass to the young black kid.
That's the way.
I mean, kids who are like 5'8", who are like 4 inches shorter than me, are like tomahawk jamming.
Yeah, it wasn't Muggsy, but no, it wasn't no, because Muggsy Webb couldn't.
There was Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues.
Spud Webb couldn't dunk, but he was 5'3". Muggsy Bogues was 5'7", and he could dunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you think that the NBA will ever have another short person?
There was a guy who used to play for the Dallas Mavericks who I think was maybe like 5'10".
Yeah, but that's not. I mean,
that was within a couple of years.
I know, but that's not very. I mean, still 5'10" is like, okay, it's like that's average.
Yeah, I'm talking about novelty short.
Like novelties, like
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, hey, you know, anything could happen.
Anything's possible.
But I mean, in today's competitive market, man, it's, you know, just how like fine-tuned and meticulous those athletes are with, I mean, the money on the line with those things.
I know, but you know, so like in the NFL, the wide receivers vary so there's a guy that's like 5'4", 5'5".
There's a 5'5" wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, and then it goes up to like 6'5". You know, there's so many. You know, I mean, tight ends, they're all super tall white guys. Yeah. That's kind of like the MO.
Well, even quarterbacks. So like Russell Wilson, I think is only 6 feet.
He's 5. Yeah, he's 5. Yeah, he's 6 feet.
Kyler Murray, I think, is 5'11", 5'10".
Yeah, he's 5'10", and same thing where they go.
Well, can he play in the NFL or whatever? You know, and he does well, but
does he?
But he also gets a lot of balls batted down at the line.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, because you know that's what happens.
Because the defensive linemen running after him are 6'4".
Well, no, Calais Campbell is 6'10".
Yeah,
you know when he puts his arm up, it's, you know, he touches the Space Needle.
Yeah, right.
So what do you expect us to do?
Yeah.
So I say if you are not physically talented, start a podcast.
There you go. Start a podcast.
Yeah.
But plus, I mean, it's like not even just being tall. I mean, those athletes. I mean, if you think about there's 1,500 people in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you look? There's 32 teams, 53 people on the roster. What's 30 times 50 at 15? About 1,500, right?
Yeah.
Like 1,500 out of 8 billion people.
Yeah.
Can play in the NFL.
And then you go, you can even break it down further. You go, okay, college athletes. They say only 1.5%,
I think.
It's like one. Well, no.
So 1 out of 100.
No, it's like less than that. It's like one. Yeah, it's like 1 out of 100 of D1 college athletes. The best of the best. Only 1% of them will make it into the NFL.
Right.
We're fortunate enough to be friends with a famous family of football players. I won't say their names on the air.
Don't want to name drop?
I don't want to name drop. It's very
name droppy.
It's very name droppy. But couple of them,
Warner.
It's not Kurt Warner, but a couple of them are in the NFL and are phenomenal athletes, household names.
Uh-huh.
And the other people are not household names, but they are the biggest people I've ever met in my entire life.
So I used to go to church back in my Mormon days when I was young. In our church congregation was a man named John Tate, who was 6'7", 300 pounds of muscle, and was the big high school. I think that was the year our high school won the state championship. This would have been in like 92. This was before I even went to high school there. But our family was already involved with the high school. And then he went on to, I think he got drafted by Kansas City and then maybe ended up on the Chicago Bears as a lineman. And I remember him walking down the halls of our church, and it's like his head was like scraping the ceiling. Yeah. Just this massive beast of a man.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable how large those guys were. And speaking of playing basketball,
and somebody, then that guy, somebody who's not talented goes, John Tate, that guy sucks.
Yeah, he sucks. He was the worst lineman ever. It's like, yeah, good luck, buddy. So this fun story. Speaking of basketball, so about 12 years ago, maybe, because I played basketball all the time, me and a group of guys from work, and they were also Mormon, so we would go, every Mormon church has a basketball gym in the middle of it, by the way, which is kind of interesting. So we would go play basketball, and one day, this guy shows up who I'd never seen before, and, very tall, athletic. He was 6'2", 6'3", and good basketball player, but I didn't think much of it at the time. I was just like, well, he's clearly athletic. As a basketball player, he was good, but it wasn't like he was doing anything super impressive as a basketball player.
Yeah.
So we play with him, whatever. I don't know anything about him. While I'm driving home, one of the other buddies of mine who was playing was like, dude, I'm totally starstruck right now. I was going, what? Who? He's like, do you know who that was? He goes, that was Dennis Pitta. I'm like, who's that? So I Googled Dennis Pitta. He was a tight end for the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, okay.
And if you go to when they won the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco in the famous when the Superdome, when the lights went off and shut down, he caught a touchdown pass in that Super Bowl and was killing it. He played basketball with us before that Super Bowl. So whenever that season was, maybe 2013, 2012, around there.
Yeah, so before that. Yeah. So what you're saying is that you inspired him.
I inspired him to win a Super Bowl.
And you said, listen, I have a jumping routine.
You've got to check this out. I can help you out with your game. So I played with him, I think 2 or 3 times he came to that game. And then one of the times he brought another friend with him. And this guy's name is Todd Heap, who ironically enough also played tight end for the Baltimore Ravens and then got traded to the Arizona Cardinals. But both of them were Arizona homebred football players. And I think there's kind of a family of football players, and it's kind of cousins, and one of their cousins was Max Hall, I think. I'm totally messing up, but it was kind of that sort of
it is, a lot of it is genetics,
and they're all Danny White, who used to play for the Dallas Cowboys, is their uncle or whatever. So there's kind of this family sort of
it really
family tree where there's these NFL football players seem to pop up on a branch or two.
It really is. And and then and I just learned have you ever watched sumo wrestling? Real honest to God sumo wrestling.
I mean, I've seen clips, but I can't say I've ever been into it.
Sumo wrestling is such an insane sport. These people, they give up their bodies. These kids, it's unbelievable. But so sumo wrestling, there was a big period of time where Polynesian Samoans were being the best sumo wrestlers in the world.
So they were beating out. It's Japanese, right?
It's Japanese. So they would go to Japan. But what happens is that sumo wrestling doesn't pay as much as the NFL does.
Sure.
And so they kind of switched gears and became some of the best football players in right now.
Speaking of Polynesian NFL football players, I have one more name drop.
Okay.
So about 15 years ago. Okay. I was playing keyboards.
I catfished.
So I was playing keyboard in this kind of band with a couple of buddies of mine. And they were a lot of them were Polynesian, and they have that Polynesian culture, which is family and love and music. And you go to any Polynesian event, and they'll start singing, and all of them can bust out into 3-part falsetto harmony, and it's the most beautiful, luscious sound you've ever heard in your life. And so that's what they were doing. There was 4 lead singers, and they would just sing these harmonies and stuff like that. And I got to play keyboard or maybe bass for them. So one day, we're at this rehearsal, and there's just this monstrous Polynesian man over there just hanging out. He's just kind of part, and you know how that is. It's just everybody kind of hangs out and they drink that disgusting root drink. Whatever. I can't remember what it's called.
Coca-Cola.
Kombucha.
Oh, yeah.
Is kombucha?
It might be kombucha. I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
So I meet him, and he's just, of course, the nicest, biggest sweetheart ever. But it turns out it was Deuce Latui.
Okay.
Who played line for the Arizona Cardinals, and I think maybe he was a journeyman, had a couple stints other places. But Deuce Latui, what's interesting about Deuce Latui, here's a little Cardinals history. Any Cardinals fans out there, you'll remember this moment.
Hey, remember this, guys.
So,
Cardinals fans, get it.
Like 12 years ago, we had this quarterback starting for us named Derek Anderson.
Yeah,
And Derek Anderson played this Monday Night Football game, I think against the 49ers, and we just got our clocks cleaned. It was like one of those like 50-0, just embarrassing losses.
Even for the Cardinals.
Even for the Cardinals. Just one of those epic.
By the way, Cardinals, please sponsor our podcast.
Please sponsor our podcast. I watch every game I've never missed.
Yeah.
And so it's like the fourth quarter. The score is like 78-3. And the camera pans over, and it's Derek Anderson on the sideline sitting next to Deuce Latui, and he's kind of laughing a little bit.
Yeah.
So then all the announcers are like, oh, man, that really bothers me. You're down this much, and you don't even care. You're on the sidelines laughing and joking like it's... And they kind of saw this quick interaction between him and Deuce Latui, and they just assumed that Derek Anderson's like, oh, well, we're losing by 70.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look at that. So the other day, I'm sitting there, and I see this broad, and I'm like, hey, Yeah. So then there's this press conference, and then Derek Anderson starts doing the press conference, and they're like, hey, what were you and Deuce talking about that was so funny? That just seemed really disingenuous that you would just be laughing it off when you've totally failed your team and all that stuff. And then Derek Anderson has this epic meltdown, and it's one of those like press conference meltdowns. He's like, hey, Deuce and I are talking. Okay, listen, I study my ass off. I take this shit seriously. That's it. And he kind of like walks off, right?
Yeah.
So then I meet Deuce Latui.
Yeah.
And I go, Deuce, you probably get asked this all the time. What were you and Derek Anderson actually talking about?
Yeah.
And what Deuce says, he goes, Derek Anderson was over there depressed.
Yeah.
And was just in this whatever. And so Deuce, like, with the perfect timing of when the camera caught him, had done some sort of like, whatever,
one of the things that we
like
would do,
the equivalent of like, give him a noogie, whatever it was. I don't remember specifically what it was he does. But Deuce Latui is kind of this, because he's a Polynesian full of love lineman.
Yeah.
And life is much bigger than football. I mean, when he's on the field, he's going to kick your ass. But on the sideline, it's kind of like, hey, dude. So he was actually the one who kind of was just actually trying to make Derek Anderson feel good, and actually did something to get him to laugh for like 2 seconds. Yeah. And that was the 2 seconds that the camera caught him. And then the whole media frenzy just comes down on him. Like Derek Anderson is just some sort of, doesn't care, doesn't take it seriously or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the behind the scenes story of Deuce Latui and Derek Anderson in the epic meltdown from 12 years ago. I got the inside scoop. Hey, hot off the presses.
Hey, hot off the presses.
Hey.
Well, let's come back and talk about more. Let's
do it.
Let's next week.
Next week.
Oh man,
we'll see you. Come have a midlife crisis with us. I'm Paul Green.
I'm Josh Novi. Hey. LA Fitness, Arizona Cardinals. We love them all. Porsches, Lamborghinis. Whoever's gonna sponsor.
Oh, we love Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
We love who will ever pay us money to say it.
0 sugars, making me healthy. My favorite thing that I've ever heard was you ever seen the 1,000-Pound Sisters or whatever? Amy and Tammy, and they go, Mama told me if you eat some candy, drink a diet soda actually no, she said, if Mama told me if you eat some candy, drink a diet soda to cancel it out.
No, that's exactly how it works.
So that's
the aspartame and the sugar go to war, and then all of the calories disappear.
That's how I feel when people look at me. I feel like that's what they see is like 1,000-Pound Sisters.
Yeah,
they look at they think I'm gonna be like, give me more pancakes. I don't know.
I'll take seconds, please.
These crepes aren't good. I need more.
All right, everybody.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thanks for having a midlife crisis with us.